We've heard of rare animals, coins, and if you're a Selena Gomez fan, then even rare beauty. Sorry for the bad joke, but how often do you hear of a rare car? Confused? Let's put this in context. There are nearly 50 million Toyota Corollas in the world, and there are only hundreds of some of the cars we will be talking about today. So, which cars are these? Let us find out. Starting with number 10, 1967 Plymouth Satellite, $66,000 estimate. First on this list is the 1967 Plymouth Satellite. Well, here we go. This is a real unicorn muscle car. Before it became an independent model, Satellite was just the top trim level for the Belvedere. But what makes this baby so special? It was simply one of the very first Mopars ever to be fitted with the legendary 426 Hemi engine, which at this point in time was actually built for NASCAR duty. Just to give you an idea, in the year 1967, only 6 Satellites were ever ordered with the Hemi. That's right, only 6. And today we can't even confirm if any of these original Hemi Satellites still exist. But if you could find one, you would be looking at a car that today could fetch upwards of $500,000. Talk about a treasure hunt. Number 9, 1970 Plymouth GTX. Estimated value, $110,000. The top list is the 1970 Plymouth GTX, otherwise known as the gentleman's muscle car. This baby represented all the theories of luxury for a marque that was married to a performance to kill. Imagine it. Smooth, silky lines replace the hard angles of previous models, seeming to beckon that it can take on any street and racetrack. In the engine bay lay either the 440 Super Commando Vibe 8 or the 426 Hemi V8. In 1970, only 72 of these bad boys had the Hemi option, making this one of the rarest muscle cars on the face of the earth. Back in 2019, a 4-speed 1970 GTX sold for just $110,000 at a Mecum auction. Not bad. Number 8, 1970 Dodge Super B, $199,000. Now there's a real icon, the 1970 Dodge Super B. It's the no-frills thrills muscle car version from Dodge. The vehicle was based on the Coronet 2-door coupe, and it got its moniker from the B-Body platform and the Scat Pack performance package. It's as Spartan as it is powerful. Although most people, upon mentioning the name Super B, will think of the 446 Pack 5.8 powering them, the real monster was the 426 Hemi V8. Only 36 Super Bs were fitted with this engine in 1970. These very equipment-laden Super Bs have sold in recent years for upwards of about $100,000, but a perfectly restored one recently solicited a bid of $199,000 on Bring a Trailer, well short of the reserve price. Number 7, 1970 Dodge Coronet RT. Estimated value, $247,500. This 1970 breed of Dodge Coronet was as much a piece of history as a muscular machine. It originally debuted as a luxury car in 1949, but by the 1960s became a street legend, especially when fitted with the unbeatable 426 Hemi. Only 14 Hemi-powered examples were built in 1970, accounting for their tremendously rare status and high desirability. A verified Hemi car just sold for $247,500. Yet this is only a fraction of the potential cost of one of these Mopar legends sitting in your driveway. Number 6, 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. Estimated value, $341,000. Number 6 is the 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner, a no-nonsense, totally no-frills muscle machine. This car is all about affordable power, which is the right combination to bring out the value of this vehicle and make it highly sought after among gearheads. Only 72 Hemi Roadrunners were built in 1970, making it ultra-rare and of high value. Cars have sold at auction in recent years for, literally, in the range of $341,000 for one. It's the kind of money that turns heads and drops jaws. The whole point of the Roadrunner was to strip down to the basics. No carpets, no frills. Just pure, unadulterated speed. This beast was on the street with a Hemi under the hood, leaving everything else in the dust. Number 5, 1970 Dodge Charger RT estimate value, $352,000. Now what about the piece that is the 1970 Dodge Charger RT? Among its peer group, not only iconic, but virtually legendary. In respect of muscle cars, Charger probably is, though the list is quite long. It's hard to miss the celebrity it's enjoyed in many television shows and films, such as The Dukes of Hazzard and Fast and Furious. But this is no ordinary Charger. It's also an RT model with all the 426 Hemi under the hood, and only 112 of the 1970 models came with the Hemi engine. By any measure, 2,532 Chargers were built by Dodge during the years 1968 to 1970. Who knows how many there are now after all of the wild Hollywood stunts and crashes, right? Estimates of the number of Hemi RTs that can be found today approximate a range between 15 and 50 again, putting a high value on these muscle cars. Sure enough, it comes as no surprise to have them auction off at $352,000. Number 4, 1971, Dodge Charger, estimated value, $550,000. Entering the chart at number 4 is this 1971 Dodge Charger. The Coke bottle styling of the third-generation Charger isn't everyone's cup of tea, but one cannot really deny the Benjamins when hooked up with the muscle of a 426 Hemi under the hood. This was a first and last year for many things, of course, for the Charger here in 1971. First off would be the fact that this was the maiden year for the new generation, but sadly the last year for the fantastic engine known as the 426 Hemi. Out of the 356 Mopars blessed with the Hemi in '71, only 85 were Chargers. Of those, only 22 were in Super B trim, a package that was axed for 1972. Because of this extremely low production and classic appeal of the Charger, this design pushes well beyond $500,000 each at auction. Number 3, 1966, Dodge Coronet, Deluxe 4-door. Estimated value, $660,000. Bringing up the rear would be something of a wild card, a 1966 Dodge Coronet Deluxe 4-door. Yes, that's right, 4 doors with this one. But not to be fooled, the car is a real monster, and here is why. In 1966, the new 426 Hemi engine built by Dodge was dropped into just about anything they could get their hands on. It would include 5 Coronet Deluxe 4 doors. That quirk of a decision has most definitely paid upfront dividends, and is now probably the reason these old Hemi cars are so unobtainable today, hence their value. All 5 of the Franken-Muscle cars exist to this day. One of them sold in a 2007 Barrett-Jackson auction for $660,000, and with inflation, not to mention the explosion in demand for ultra-rare Mopar products, who knows how much it would fetch today. Number 2, 1970, Plymouth Superbird, estimated value $1,650,000. Another of my choices, number 2, is both wild and could never happen, the 1970 Plymouth Superbird. That's the car Plymouth came up with to respond to the Dodge Charger Dayton in Horror's Aero Wars. What a statement this gives, I suppose. For speed, it had a giant, massive rear wing and an enormous nose. Directly put, that was too radical for most customers then. Those were the cars that nobody would buy off the lots. Some remained for a year or more. Fast forward, this today is the most desirable muscle car of all time. A Hemi-equipped Superbird can easily break the bank at over $1.6 million. Of the 1,935 or so Superbirds built, only about 135 of them entered the world with the 426 Hemi, thereby making them something of a holy grail for collectors. Number 1, 1969, Dodge Charger Daytona, estimated value $1,950. And at the very top of the list comes the car that would quite literally smash through the barriers. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona was built to race in the NASCAR race circuit, and it did, breaking more than just a competitive barrier by being the first car to race over 200 miles per hour. However, in order to be allowed to compete, a certain number of these fastest cars had to be produced for public sale. And then came the Charger Daytona. Only 503 were built. 70 of those with the 426 Hemi. All the aero and legendary pedigree combined into a car that was collectible from its inception. Fast forward to today, and should you get one, the numbers on it will easily rise to close to $2 million at auction sales. Yes, folks, for $2 million, get an automotive history in a piece that did not just change the game, it shattered records. Which car would you buy from these? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, make sure to subscribe for more amazing videos on your favorite cars. We'll see you next time. Drive safe, my friends. Want to know about the most powerful muscle cars ever made? Check out this video to find out.